In the name of God, the gracious, the merciful, we give him praise and thanks for his mercy and his goodness to the human family. If all the trees upon the earth were pens to write with, and if all the oceans were ink, and then another 7 oceans to add to its supply, the writing would still not be enough to explain the glory of God, for he's the exalted, all-powerful, all-wise. We confide in no other in our time of need, and we praise no other in our good fortune. And even if I live to be 1,000, it still would not be enough to thank God for his many blessings and gifts. He's the exalted, all-powerful, all-wise. We thank God for the Metu Netter, oracles, scriptures, and writings that came before any of the 3 major faiths, meaning Judaism, Christianity, and Islam. The Metu Netter. We thank God for Moses in the Torah, Jesus in the Gospel, and Muhammad with the Quran. I greet everyone in words of peace. Assalamu alaikum. That simply means peace unto you, no matter whether you call yourself Hebrew Israelite, Christian, whatever. This is going out words and salutations of peace to all our family. So again, this is Brother Shareef with the Hour of Power. Go to Hour of Power Shareef Hamid on YouTube. Hour of Power Shareef Hamid. Subscribe and share. Subscribe and share. I think it's plenty of information on this channel that can reach pretty much any of our people, no matter what your situation is. So again, Hour of Power Shareef Hamid. To this evening, family, the title of my topic is Preparing Our Youth for a Successful School Year. Preparing our youth for a successful school year. Depending where you are, I'm here in Durham, North Carolina. We just started school last week, the 28th, and we had a short break today, which is Labor Day, but tomorrow it's right back at it. To my family up there in Pennsylvania and other states, some may have started, that 3rd week in August, whatever, but either way, school is back in session, and we want our youth to have a successful school year. So I'm not going to get into a bunch of statistics and long-winded talk. I'm going to get right into it, and hopefully this message will empower you and your children, whether it's your children, your grandchildren, niece, nephew, whoever. We all got children in the school system one way or another. But how can our children be successful in the school year if A, they're either suspended, or B, they're caught up in Truancy Court? Those are 2 huge barriers that is making it difficult for our children to be successful in school. And then it's a huge burden on the caretakers of our children, whether you're a mother, a father, a grandparent, aunt, uncle, or just concerned person in the community looking after these youth. Again, if your child is suspended or caught up in truancy court, how can they be successful in school? But I'm going to just give some basic tips, basic things that we can do to make them successful while they're in school. Again, I'm a counselor in the school system. I work with children that have behavior, mental, and emotional problems. I've been doing it for many years. I've worked in the prison system, juvenile justice system, and I've counseled in the system, and I do mentoring with adults and mostly youth on my free time, mostly for free, because I love my people and I know the Most High will bless me for what I try to do to uplift the mind, body, and soul of our people. It ain't all about this. We have to get more into the business of giving and not always expecting something in return. Now, some basic tips to help our children be successful in school. Our children need consistency. They need consistency, meaning they need a consistent schedule every day once they get home in preparation for the next day of them going to school. If they don't have that, you can't expect them to be successful in school. When you get home, I know things happen, things pop up, but have a set schedule for them to do homework. Not Pokemon, not whatever they're watching on TV, a set schedule. Once they get home and get a little nourishment in their body, and hopefully good nourishment, not a bunch of junk food is going to make them hyper. but you work with what you work with. Have a set schedule for them to do that homework. At least an hour of homework and a half hour of reading. But that homework should be first when they get home. They shouldn't be cramming doing homework no 9, 10, 11, 12 o'clock at night if they do it at all. Set schedule for homework. A set schedule for them to, just relax their mind. After that, maybe a little TV, family time, that nourishment, and then a set schedule for them going to bed. I be talking to students and I ask them all the time, what time did you go to bed last night? 1 o'clock, 2 o'clock, 3 o'clock. I even have students tell me they pull all-nighters. What is going on? How can a child function in school if they go to bed 1, 2, 3 o'clock? Because most children that use transportation to get to school, they got to be on that school bus 7:15. So that means they're only getting maybe 3-4 hours of sleep. It has to be consistency and supervision if possible. I know some of y'all are working 2 jobs and, trying to make it work. But if you're there, it has to be consistency. You want some quiet time where there's no radio on, the phone ain't ringing, not a bunch of loud music and people running in and out. I'm telling you, this may seem trivial to you, but it is a huge factor with the behavior, which connects to that suspension piece I talked about, the behavior of your children, the atmosphere and the environment that you set at home. It's going to show when they go to school. Remember, I'm not just talking off the cuff. I am in the classroom. I work with these teachers. I work with the children that have behavior problems, mental problems. And if we set a foundation at home, their behavior will almost change overnight, right? And it has to be a law and order. That's one thing I agree with this president of ours when he talked about law and order. It has to be law and order at home, a healthy balance of discipline and reward, a healthy balance of discipline and reward. If little Johnny does good in school, not every time, reward him, okay? And if he don't do good in school, have a set standards that you have from him, set rules, and if he or she breaks them, they got to pay a price for that. I ain't talking about no belt or nothing that's not reasonable, but you got to set standards and say, hey, if you don't do this, if you don't do your homework, if you don't stay on like a yellow or whatever the color is for behavior, if they have that system in school, then I'm gonna have to take some things from you. I'm gonna have to take that PlayStation from you. We're gonna cut down your TV time, or you're going outside to ride on the bike time and ride on the bike. And you have to be, again, consistent with it. Okay? So consistency and some level of peace at home, it's gonna show when they go to school. They're gonna have proper rest. Their mind is gonna be right, and their mood is gonna be right. It's too many things not right at home that I'm seeing, and then we wonder why these children are misbehaving in school, which leads to suspensions. Yes, they have to respect authority too. Respect authority. You are the authority. If they respect you and there's law and order at home, it won't be as hard for them to follow some rules in school. And I know it's some barriers there. It's some teachers that shouldn't be teaching, but from what I see, a lot. And most of these teachers mean our children well, because a lot of their teachers in the school are black. And I know some of our black teachers got some Negro in them, but from what I see and what I've experienced here, many of these teachers want the best for the children, but we got to do our part. So the groundwork has to be laid at home. And the main word is that C word, consistency. Homework, 5 to 6, 6 to 7, downtime. 7 to 8, snack or dinner, however you mix it up, whatever your family structure is. No later than 9:30. It should be lights out, in the bed. Not no 2, 3 in the morning. And if you are working another job, try to have someone there responsible that's going to follow these rules for you. Our children are getting suspended too much. Black children are 4 times more likely than white children to be suspended from school. We want a zero policy. Zero policy with children being suspended. Now, what's the solution to that? Every county and every state has a policy on suspension, but we don't know it. And just like the criminal justice system, ignorance is no excuse to break the law. It is so bad that I went to a coalition meeting with my job and they were handing out these little things about suspensions. And I'm in Durham, but every county, no matter what state or whoever is viewing this, I got many people in Pennsylvania, where I'm from. This is called the policy. Every county has a code of student conduct, and also for teachers, principal, and staff. The one for Durham, listen to this because I'm in Durham. It's www.dpsnc, which stands for North Carolina, .net/page 502. That is a policy in the code that every school in Durham has to follow for suspensions. They just can't suspend your child recklessly. If you're in Pennsylvania, if you're in York, Pennsylvania, where I'm from, go and just Google what the policy is for suspensions. It's there and they have to follow that. Again, I'm going to give it for the one in Durham. www.dpsnc.net/page PAGE/502, and then it says read policy 4300 and policy 4301, which gives code of student conduct and code for principals and teachers and staff. It's policy they have to follow when it comes to suspension and even in-school suspensions. They just can't recklessly suspend your child. But if you follow some of them tips I just gave you, family, about consistency and law and order, that will greatly reduce any chance of your children being suspended and having behavior problems. Lay off of that, giving them all that sugar. It makes them hype. I've had children, I asked them, what'd you have for breakfast this morning? Now and later and a Coke. Now and later in a Coke. Do you know a Coke soda has anywhere between 38 and 53 grams of sugar in it? That's like dumping 10 big scoops of sugar and just dumping it in a drink. That is a lot. That's just with the soda. And then you add whatever candy they're eating. Our nutrition has to get better. Everyone may not have access to a Whole Foods, organic food, but do the best you can to give them a good diet, because that's going to have a huge impact on their mood and their ability to learn. So again, wherever you are watching this message through the Hour of Power, this is what the Hour of Power does. Salute to my producers, Brother Ty Prince and Brother Emeka, who helps me put these messages together, the videography, all the things that they put in it to give a little pizzazz to my message. That's not my doing. That's my brothers helping me out. Brothers helping brothers. Salute Brother Ty and salute Brother Emeka for helping the Hour of Power be what it is. And it's just getting started. This channel is only a little over a month old, and I appreciate all those who have supported and subscribed to the channel and have viewed. So again, no matter where you are, go to your county and Google the suspension policy for your county. Now, another barrier is Truancy Court. Oh my goodness. You want to talk about a trap? Truancy Court. If your children don't go to school, and if they miss so many days within a particular period, you could get a letter in the mail, and it's a nasty letter from Truancy Court. Do you know, I have sat in on some court cases because some of my students, and I'm connected with their mother, are in Truancy Court. Do you know they can fine you as much as $200 to $300 for one student if they're caught in Truancy Court? Not caught, but if they get caught up in Truancy Court. I got mothers, single mothers, that have 3 and 4 children. 2-3 of them caught up in Truancy Court. How is she going to afford a $200-300 fine for 2 and 3 children? So what's the solution to this? It goes back to a message I just did the other day about if you have a real man in your life, a fake one won't destroy your life. A fake one won't destroy your life. We need some kind of mentors, some kind of brothers that can help These sisters who are working hard, every sister ain't just on welfare and sitting around watching soap operas and goofing off. It's some hard working sisters out here. I know sisters who are going to school and working and trying to take care of their children. Don't believe the hype. Don't believe these stereotypes that these sisters aren't doing anything. Yes, they are. It's a lot of sisters trying. But if she's at work, how's she going to check? So these are some things you can do, sisters, that may be in that situation. You're a single mother. You thinking your children is going to school and they're not going to school. This is where you need to have a good relationship with the teachers. Don't give them teachers a hard time unless it's absolutely clear that they're not doing their job. Have a good relationship with at least 1 or 2 teachers in the school. Cell phones are everywhere. Teachers have cell phones with them. Okay? So text that teacher. So school starts at 8:30. By 9 o'clock, text that teacher. Hey, is Jamal in school? Is little Jerome in school? And if she ain't seen him in the class, you need to start taking steps to find out where Jamal is. Once Jamal knows that you got that connection with your teacher, with his teacher, he's going to straighten up if he's voluntarily walking in school and then walking out of school or not going to school at all. He's going to be like, oh man, mom is on to my BS. He's going to straighten up on his own. Have a mentor that can possibly help Jamal make sure he's getting to school. All they want is attention, but it got to be law and order. Don't just go to the school when Jamal gets in trouble and then be fussing the teacher out and going up there with your pajamas and your tatas bouncing all over the place and your ass jingling all over the place when it's trouble. Have a connection with your teacher, at least 1 or 2 of them, so you can make sure them children are going to school. Because when them letters start coming, them truancy letters start coming, it's going to be hell and high water. $200 to $300 fines, if not more. That's just for one child. That's just for one child. Okay? So we got to keep these children and these parents out of truancy court. They can even send you to prison for this, family. I've seen it. I have sat in on truancy court hearings and cases. And if it gets real bad, then it can go downtown. They can actually settle it in the school system. But if it gets bad, then it can go downtown to your local judicial system downtown, wherever you live. And then the fines and the consequences are really going to get heavy. I know sisters are in a whole jam just behind truancy court. It is the law that your children attend school. Another solution, once they are in school, and if your children is having trouble focusing, having trouble in math, having trouble in reading, go in there and possibly, if it's the best solution, get them set up with an IEP plan, an IEP plan, individual educational plan, IEP. What this does is it's going to help them get certain provisions for standardized testing. They're testing the hell out of these children. They got BOGs, beginning of grade. They got testing in between, case 21 and all these different tests. The teacher is not at the blackboard like back in the day when we went to school. Most of these teachers, no fault of their own, they're sitting at a desk, at a computer, testing the hell out of these children. Not their fault. They're not at the blackboard hardly teaching anymore because they're so swamped and bombarded with testing these children, which is giving these children anxiety. It's making them nervous. A lot of children don't test well. Heck, I don't test well. I don't like tests. And I went to school for a master's degree. And I don't like tests. I don't test well. But that's what's going on now. They got all these beginning of grade, EOGs, end of grade, all these tests in between. With the IEP, they can get certain provisions where they'll get extra time. They can get pulled out. It will save them from getting suspended possibly. It don't give them a pass to misbehave. But if they, depending on what the provisions and what's in that IEP, which you have to sign off on as a parent, they just can't kick them out the class. They can have a timeout time where if they're getting a little amped up, a little upset, they can go to another room and calm down with a counselor in the school or a mentor like myself and calm down. de-escalate, where they don't not getting kicked out of class, where they get the in-school suspension and then eventually suspended from school. An IEP. Then with the IEP, the school staff and administration revisit what's in the IEP maybe every 3 months. And then you have goals that your child has to meet, or goals that you try to meet for them to improve educationally and behavioral wise in this IEP, individual educational plan. It's no problem with that, because it's going to give them the help they need and keep them from being suspended. Okay, I ain't for all the medication and all that stuff. That don't have to be in there because the parent has to sign off on it. But if they're having trouble with reading and math and science, they can get extra help. Get them extra help. One of my sons last year was below reading level at the beginning of the year. I pulled him out of his dance class. Me and his mother pulled him out of his dance class. I took him to school every morning at 7:30 for at least 3-4 months straight. Do you know he ended up being the highest in math and reading at the end of the school year after being below grade level? He ended out the school year above grade level. He got 4s and 5s on his EOGs. And that's what we're struggling with. It's right here. Look at this. Test result statistics below state level. And then if you look here, it says school letter grades, D's and F's. This is the 2015 Herald Sun here in Durham. It says school letter grades, D's and F's in a majority of the schools. 25 of Durham schools, districts, 49 schools, nearly 50% earn letter grades from state received grades, either a D or an F on their report card. And this was in the 2015-2016 school year. And in the past school year wasn't too much better. So I know about the same thing is probably going on in Pennsylvania, Chicago, New York. Black and Latino children are struggling in reading and their math scores. They're below grade level. And they're having issues with suspensions and truancy court. Truancy court is very dangerous. It's nothing but a trap. It will mess you up, family, especially our mothers. What's the solution to some of this? Have you ever, and then I'll be finishing up. So again, my goal is to lower what I can do. I'm only one person, but lower them suspension rates by having consistency at home, law and order, whether it's good behavior or bad behavior, a balance with reward and consequences. Right? And that consistency, they will be able to concentrate better, and good nutrition. They will be able to concentrate better. Their behavior will be better, and that will lower the suspension rate. Truancy court. Keep them out of truancy court. Have a good relationship with 1 or 2 teachers at the least. Use this technology. Them teachers have cell phones, right? This ain't the old school days in the 70s where you could only reach a teacher by calling to the front desk. Instead of going up there with your titties and your ass out and fussing at teachers only when Jamal is probably acting a damn fool. Have a relationship with the teacher where you're not just going up there when Jamal is in trouble. Hey, Miss Smith, how is Jamal doing? Did Jamal have a system where you check in with her every day by 9 o'clock? Is Jamal in school? Especially if you know he's skipping school. And that'll keep you out of truancy court. Now, finishing up. What's the solution to some of this? I don't have all the answers, but I think I have some logic with me. I think God blessed me with some logic. Have you ever seen the show Good Times back in the 70s? Family, listen to me. Good on this. Remember Good Times? Florida, James Evans, JJ, Thelma, Michael, Valona, all of them. It's some psychology. And it's very relative to what's going on and what we need in our family. Do you know Esther Roll, who played the role of Florida Evans? When they came to her about this show, they wanted her to do the show as a single mother, a single black mother. And she said, absolutely not. I will not do this show without a black man and a king by my side as a father. I will not do this show as a single black mother. Hence is how I think his last name is Amos. Is that his name? John Amos, who played the role of James Evans, the strict black father, which we need, the disciplinarian. That's how he got that role. Now, eventually Satan got his way, because about 2.5, 3 years in, they staged this thing where he had an accident. So Florida Evans ended up being a single mother anyway. But look how the show went downhill after he left, and look how it was at his peak in its golden years when he was there, which means a black family can be successful without Rolls Royces, without Mercedes Benz and all these fancy clothes and all these big time jobs and titles and $250,000 houses. I want us to have riches. Ain't nothing wrong with being rich, but that doesn't make you righteous. And that isn't the only precursor and the only a standard for us to have a strong family. They were a strong family because they were together. And a black man was there holding down his family, meaning James Evans. And if his children stepped out of line, he was there to bust their ass and to get on them. We need family. So this is a cry and a plea to you, brothers. Do the best you can to keep your family together, like James Evans did. You see how strong they were? They were in that apartment. They were struggling. Sometimes they didn't know how they were going to get by from day to day, but they were a family and they were together and they had structure, and Florida Evans stuck by her man because he was worthy to be the king of that house. He earned it. So sisters, if you got a good man and he's striving, he may not have thousands of dollars in the bank and be the CEO, but if he is God conscious and striving, stick by that man. And brothers, stop running around and goofing off and abusing these sisters. Keep your family together. And all this suspension stuff and this truancy court, it will go away overnight. It will go. It's a plot. It's a plan. They want us in this jam so they can have more services to come in and capitalize off of our suffering. Teach your children something at home like this. Look at this book, What They Never Taught You in Black History Class, Volume 1. Teach your children something about themselves at home instead of all these silly sitcoms and shows that I hear them talking about in movies. Teach them something about themselves. Look at that. Look at the pyramids that we built. We need to bring that back. I hope this message has helped someone tonight. I hope it's helped a family that can keep our children from being suspended, keep our children and our families out of truancy court, because it's very, very costly and detrimental to the family structure. Brothers, keep your family together like James Evans did. Like James Evans did, and they did in good times. Discipline your children in a just way. Have a balance with reward and discipline and consistency. All this getting suspended and getting kicked out of class and having low grades. We invented math. We invented science. We should be the masters of it, just like we were thousands of years ago in Africa. We can do it if we are one, like Frankie Beverly and Mays said. We are one. We are family, but the family has to be together. You don't got to have a house on the hill. You don't got to need to make millions of dollars. Just got to have that God consciousness and the togetherness. I leave you in peace as I came. Assalamu alaikum to my Muslim family. Praise the Lord to my Christian family. Shalom to my Hebrew Israelite family. Hotep to my Black conscious family. And what's good to you to my people in the streets. This is the Hour of Power with Shareef Hamid. Subscribe and share to the channel. And share these messages with like minds so we can lift the mind, body, and soul of our people. We need help. We didn't get in this alone, and we're not going to get out of it alone. I thank you for listening. Share this message. Again, this is preparing our youth for a successful school year. I thank you for listening. Peace.